You walk into a bank. You have a job. You have money in your account. You want to borrow $5,000 to buy a used car. The banker looks at your file, smiles politely, and says no. Not because you're broke, not because you're unemployed, but because you don't exist. At least, not to the financial system. You have no credit history. And in America, that makes you more suspicious than someone who's already failed. This is the paradox at the center of modern finance. You need credit to get credit. And if you're starting from zero, you're not just behind, you're invisible. The invisible problem. There are roughly 45 million adults in the United States who are credit invisible. That means they have no credit score, no history, no file with the big three credit bureaus. They've never taken out a loan, never had a credit card, never financed anything. Some of them are young, some are immigrants. Some just avoided debt their whole lives and thought they were being smart. But here's what nobody tells you. The system punishes caution. If you've never borrowed money, the system assumes you don't know how, and it treats you like a risk. Landlords reject you. Car dealers jack up your interest rates. Even some employers check your credit before they hire you. So the question isn't whether you should build credit. The question is, how do you build it when the entire system is designed to lock you out? The credit score illusion. Let's start with what a credit score actually is. It's a three-digit number between 300 and 850. Invented in 1989 by a company called Fair Isaac Corporation. That's where the name FICO comes from. It's not a measurement of how rich you are. It's not a measurement of how smart you are with money. It's a measurement of one thing only: how reliably you pay back borrowed money. The system doesn't care if you have $1 million in savings. It doesn't care if you've never missed a rent payment in your life. Because rent doesn't count. Utility bills don't count. Your actual financial responsibility doesn't count. The only thing that counts is debt, and more specifically, your relationship with debt. This is the first uncomfortable truth. The credit system rewards people who borrow money and pay it back slowly, not people who avoid debt entirely. How the system actually works. Your credit score is built on 5 factors. Payment history is 35%. That means whether you pay your bills on time. Amounts owed is 30%. That's how much debt you're carrying compared to your credit limits. Length of credit history is 15%. How long you've had credit accounts open. Credit mix is 10%. Do you have different types of debt, like a car loan and a credit card? New credit is 10%. How many times you've applied for credit recently? Now here's the problem. If you're starting from zero, you fail at almost all of these. You have no payment history. You have no length of history. You have no credit mix. You don't even have a file. So the system looks at you and sees nothing. And nothing is worse than something bad. A person with a 500 credit score has a history of mistakes. But at least they have a history. You don't. And that makes you unscorable. So how do you get your first credit account? You apply for a credit card. But here's the problem. Most credit card companies won't approve you without a credit score. They want to see that you've successfully managed credit before. But you can't manage credit before if no one gives you credit. This is the loop. And it's not an accident. It's a feature of the system. Because people with no credit history are genuinely risky to lenders. They have no data, no track record, no proof they'll pay anything back. So most lenders just say no. They'd rather lend to someone with a bad score than no score. Because bad is predictable. Nothing is not. But there is a crack in the system. A few products were designed specifically for people like you, and they work. But they require you to do something that feels completely backward. You have to pay for the privilege of building credit. The first way to build credit from zero is called a secured credit card. Here's how it works. You go to a bank. You give them $300. They hold that money as collateral. Then they give you a credit card with a $300 limit. You use the card. you pay it off. And they report your payments to the credit bureaus. If you stop paying, they keep your $300. You're basically lending them money, so they'll let you borrow your own money back. It sounds insane, and in a way, it is. But it works, because now you have a payment history. You have a credit account. You exist. Most secured cards require you to keep that deposit locked up for 6 months to a year. After that, if you've been paying on time, they'll give you your deposit back and convert your card to a regular unsecured card. Your credit limit might go up. Your score starts to climb. And suddenly, you're no longer invisible. The trick is this. You need to use the card, but not max it out. The system wants to see that you can manage credit responsibly. That means keeping your balance below 30% of your limit. So if your limit is $300, never carry more than $90. Pay it off in full every month. Never miss a payment. Do this for 6 months and you'll have a credit score. Not a great one, but a real one. The second way is faster, but it requires trust. You ask someone with good credit to add you as an authorized user on their credit card. This could be a parent, a partner, a friend. When they add you, their credit history for that card gets added to your credit report. You don't even need to use the card. You don't need access to it. Just being listed as an authorized user means their payment history now shows up on your file. This is the shortcut, and it's completely legal. But it comes with risk. If the person who added you misses a payment or maxes out their card, that hurts your score too. You're tied to their behavior. And if they remove you as an authorized user later, that history disappears from your file. So this method works best if the person adding you has excellent credit, low balances, and a long history with that card. The older the account, the better. Because remember, 15% of your score is based on the length of your credit history. If someone adds you to a card they've had for 10 years, your report suddenly shows 10 years of history, even though you just joined yesterday. It's a loophole, and it works.
Sign here to add you as an authorized user.
Okay, thanks.
Great, it's approved.
Perfect.
The third option is called a credit builder loan, and it flips the logic of borrowing completely upside down. Normally, you take out a loan, you get the money, and then you pay it back. With a credit builder loan, you pay first and get the money later. Here's how it works. You go to a credit union or an online lender. You apply for a credit builder loan, usually between $300 and $1,000. They approve you, but they don't give you the money. Instead, they put it in a locked savings account. You make monthly payments for 12 months. They report those payments to the credit bureaus. At the end of 12 months, they give you the money. You've basically been paying yourself. And the interest you pay, usually somewhere between 6 and 16%, is the cost of building your credit. It's expensive, but it's predictable, and it works. After 12 months, you have a year of on-time payments on your credit report. You have a credit mix that now includes an installment loan, and you have a credit score. Some credit unions even let you use the money in the locked account as collateral for a secured credit card at the same time. So you're building credit twice, once with the loan, once with the card. This strategy is slower than becoming an authorized user, but it doesn't depend on anyone else. You control it completely. Let's talk about what actually happens to your score as you do this. When you open your first credit account, whether it's a secured card or a credit builder loan, you won't have a score right away. It takes about 6 months of reported activity before the credit bureaus generate a number. During that time, you're still invisible. But after 6 months, you'll usually land somewhere between 580 and 620. That's not good, but it's not terrible either. It's a starting point. From there, every on-time payment raises your score by a few points. Every month your account ages, your score climbs. If you keep your balance low and never miss a payment, you can hit 650 within a year, 700 within 2 years. But here's the thing. The system rewards patience. Your score doesn't jump overnight. It grows slowly, month by month, as the algorithm learns to trust you. And the most important factor is time. You can't hack time. You can't speed it up. The length of your credit history is 15% of your score, and there's no shortcut. This is why people who start building credit early have an advantage. A 22-year-old with 3 years of credit history will almost always have a better score than a 30-year-old with 1 year, because the system values age. Now let's talk about what doesn't help. Paying rent on time doesn't count. Paying your phone bill on time doesn't count. Paying your utilities, your internet, your streaming services, none of it counts. The credit bureaus don't see it, which means millions of people who are financially responsible have no way to prove it. There are some services now that let you report rent payments to the credit bureaus, but they cost money, and most landlords don't participate. So if you've been renting for 5 years and never missed a payment, the credit system treats you the same as someone who's never paid for anything. This is the absurdity. The system ignores the most consistent monthly payment most people make, and it only rewards you for taking on debt. There's a reason for this. The credit score was never designed to measure financial health. It was designed to measure profitability. Banks make money when you borrow. They make money when you carry a balance. They make money when you pay interest. A person who never borrows money is worthless to the system, not because they're irresponsible, but because they're not profitable. So here's what you need to understand. Building credit from zero is not about becoming financially smart. It's about learning to play a game that was designed without you in mind. The rules are arbitrary. The system is rigged toward people who already have access. And the stakes are higher than they should be. Because your credit score doesn't just affect loans. It affects where you can live, what you pay for car insurance, whether you can start a business, sometimes even whether you can get a job. We've built a society where a 3-digit number determines your access to opportunity. And that number doesn't measure your income, your savings, or your discipline. It measures your willingness to borrow. So yes, you should build credit. Not because the system is fair, but because the system is everywhere. Start with a secured card. Become an authorized user if you can. Take out a credit builder loan if you need to. Pay on time. Keep your balances low. Wait 6 months. Then wait 6 more. And slowly, you'll go from invisible to visible. The question is whether that should be necessary at all. If this helped you see the situation a little more clearly, that's exactly the point. This is Sam Antman Finance. Calm explanations, no panic. Subscribe if you'd like more of that.